Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through some of the problems from the 10G assignment. All right, first thing we're going to start with is number 1 here. Find f prime of x, given that f of x is so forth and so on. So this is basically just asking us to take the derivative, right? So for a, we've got x to the third. So remember this 3 pops out front here, multiplied by whatever's in front there. So 3 times 1 is just 3x, and then we subtract 1 from that, so we get 3x squared is what f prime of x is. Okay? For not b, but for I here, we've got x squared plus x. So we simply just want to take the derivative of each piece here. So for f prime of x on these here, 2 times 1x is 2x. Subtract 1 from that, and we're just left with 2x to the first. So we can simply just leave it as 2x. And this is x to the first. 1 times 1x is 1, and then we take away the 1 and we get 0, so the x's are gone. So there's our derivative. Okay? And then for q, we're going to do, we got x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x. Just going to simply take the derivative of each piece and add them together. So 3 times 1 is 3x. Subtract 1, that's 3x squared. And then 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. X to the first, so let's leave it as 8x. And then we've got, excuse me, 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract 1 and that goes away, and here's our derivative. Okay? All right. Next one, differentiate with respect to x. So basically, let's just take the derivative of this here as well. So there are ways to take the derivative with as the fraction here, but I always find it easiest to just move everything to the top and then take the derivative, just like we're used to doing. And I think that probably will make it easier. Easier for us. So a, we've got 1 over x squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that x squared, move to the top. So that's going to give us officially 1 times x to the negative second. And now do the derivative. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2x. We're going to subtract 1 from that. So negative 2x to the negative third is fine. Or we can put it as negative 2 over, since it's x to the negative third, we put it 2 over x cubed. Either one of those is fine. Okay? G, 2x, just like it's written, is just fine there. And then we want to move that x squared up to the top. So we got 3 over x squared. That x squared we want to move up. So we have 2x plus 3x to the negative second. Take the derivative of this, and we get 1 times 2 is 2. Let's see, it was going to write an x, but look, if we subtract 1, the x's are gone. And then we have negative 2 times 3 is minus 6, x to the negative third. So this works just fine, or we can rewrite it as 2 minus 6 over x cubed. Either one of those. All right, and then for m, we've got 5 minus 8 over x squared plus 4 over x cubed. Okay, so now there is no x here, so when we do the derivative of this, you know what, let's talk about that in a second. Let's get everything to the top. So we've got at 5 minus 8x to the negative second plus 4x to the negative third. So when we take the derivative of a constant, the reason why the derivative of constant is always 0, because really there's no x's here, so officially this is x to the 0. 0 times anything is going to give us 0, right? And then we take the derivative of this next one. Negative 2 times negative 8 is 16. X to the, subtract 1 from that, and that's negative 3. And then negative 3 times 4 is minus 12. X to the negative fourth. So we can write it as just that. Or 16 over x to the fifth. Sorry, x to the third. Can't read my own handwriting. X cubed, because that's a 3. Minus 12 over x to the fourth. Either one of those. Okay? All right, next one. Suppose g of x equals x squared plus 1 over x. Find g prime of x. So we're going to find the derivative of this here. So when you're taking the derivative, we got two terms in the top and one in the bottom. Here's what I like to do. Before I even take the derivative, we're going to just do g of x, and we're going to write this as x squared over x plus 1 over x. Okay, and then that's x to the first. X to the first, we're going to move both of those up to the top. So we still have g of x equals 2 minus 1 is going to give us x to the first. And this is going to be plus 1 x to the positive 1 on the bottom turns into negative 1 on the top. So that's our like simplified function. So we can take the derivative. Now we take the derivative. 1 times x, so now g prime of x. 1 times x is 1. We subtract the 1 from there. The x is gone, so we just have the 1. Negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. Subtract 1 from that, and it's x to the negative second. Or g prime of x equals 1 minus 1 over x squared. Okay, either one of those will work come test time. This is probably the better answer, but this is fine too. All right, now it says part C, find g prime of negative 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug negative 2 into either of these equations. I find that this one probably is going to be a little bit nicer to plug it into, so you can plug it into either one and it will still work, but just saying. So we've got 1 minus 1 over x to, oops, not x anymore. It's now negative 2 squared. Okay, so we got 1 minus 1 over negative 2 times negative 2 is 1. Well, sorry, negative 2 squared is 4, so that turns into 1 minus a quarter. So that simply gives us 3/4 for that one. Okay, and then last one to do on this assignment here, number 7, find the gradient, aka slope. Slope of the tangent to this. So remember, whenever you hear the word slope of the tangent, you know we're going to do derivative. Got to take the derivative of this thing. So we got y equals x squared. So first thing we're going to do is take the derivative. So y equals x squared, derivative is going to be 2 times x. That's 2x. Subtract 1, that's 2x to the first. So y prime is 2x. And then it says find the slope of the tangent to this line here at x equals 2. All you want to do now is simply plug 2 in for x here. So then now we do y prime equals 2 times 2. So y prime is 4. So the slope of the tangent, at x equals 2 is 4. Okay? Okay, and then looking at E, find the slope of the tangent. So again, we want to find the derivative. So we got to take the derivative of this here. So y equals 2x. I'm going to move this x up to the top. So it's minus 5x to the negative first. Now take the derivative. Right? 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 1. That x there is gone. Negative 1 times negative 5 is plus 5x to the negative second. So our better bet, y prime equals 2 plus 5 over x squared. That's our derivative. Okay, but now they want to know what's the slope of the tangent at this point, 2 and 3/2. Okay, we really only need, in here, we really only need the x value. We don't even really, we're not concerned about the y value. We can find it just with the x. So our slope at 2, at x equals 2, will be 2 plus 5 over 2 squared. So it's going to be 2 plus 5 over 4. So really that's 2 plus 1 1/4, right? So that's 3 1/4 is going to be what the slope is at this point, 2 and 3/2. Okay? All right, that's all we have for 10G, the first part. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks.